What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Codex Station Comic Character of the Week. Sorry about that intro there. I messed up on the buttons. As you can see, our main operator behind the screen is Tim, and he is not here tonight. He is out sick, Sue. You guys got the three-way tonight. You have me, Sal the Slab Guy, as your host. We've got Dan the Man Kelly right next to me over here, who has moved up in the world. And then, of course, coming to you live from the Emporium, the library, the Ric Flair of comic books.
Woo!
How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Doing good.
All right.
Ready to talk about Mr. Williams. We're ready to talk about some Simon Williams.
Some Simon Williams, a little Wonder Man. I'm sporting the shirt. There we go. I think
Yes,
Dan,
you
you're
are.
sporting
Look
the
at
shirt
you.
with him.
Well, he's not. I don't think he's actually on this Avengers shirt, but it is an Avengers shirt.
I did find a sweatshirt, a hoodie that I had with him on it, but it's too damn hot. But Wonder Man in my pocket.
But you do have a Wonder Man in your pocket. That's what you
I
said.
do. I got Wonder Man over here. Boom, 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 and boom. So,
Got a Wonder Man in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
oh, I am both.
He is.
And I've got a big pant load of ionic energy for you.
Oh. Hey, remember, this isn't After Dark.
This is not After Dark. This is
Oh,
not After Dark.
man, sorry. My bad. No ionic energy for anybody else. Everybody keep your own ionic energy. Thank you.
Everybody keeps it to themselves tonight. Thank you very much.
Is that BIE, big ionic energy? BIE?
BIE. Yep. All right, let's get a little business out of the way. Like I said, I am Sal the Slab Guy, and you could always find me on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner. Let me throw that up there really quick. There you go. You can always find me on Sal's Comic Corner on YouTube, and also under the Slab Guy 77 on Instagram. Dan, why don't they tell you where they can find you at?
When I'm not doing shows here, you can find me also on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. Go give me a follow. Go give me some likes. Give me some suggestions on what you'd like to see me draw or what songs you would like to hear me play. I post music on there too. And I also post on the Comic Character of the Day page on Facebook that Archduke Kevin started. So I post the question of the day and the as Gary started calling it, the random panel of the day, because I want to funny panels on there every couple of days. And then Gary sent me one and said, "Hey, here's for your random panel of the day." I'm like, I guess it's a thing now. So I've posted one every day since.
I love it. I'm
a little unsure about your panel today.
Oh, with the Superman Batman one.
That's very disturbing. I can't talk about it though because it's not After Dark, so we can't talk about it.
Right. All right. Go, Gary.
That was a pretty messed up panel, though, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Like I said, I try and find ones that are, I try and find ones that are, that are going to make you laugh one way or another, whether it's unintentionally dirty or just, make absolutely no sense. But
fabulous.
Mostly dirty.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on, folks. Uncle Gary, where can they find you at?
All right. You can also find me on our good buddy Archduke Kevy's site, Comic Character of the Day. I post the covers of the day. And these two gentlemen here are frequent flyers on that site. Sal posted a formula to figure out what your superhero name is today. And that was
that was pretty fun. That was fun.
I'm radioactive shrinking lizard. I'm not too thrilled with that, but you gotta be what you gotta be, I guess. So we can all find us there. And I'm on Facebook. I am under the name of Opie Taylor. You can also find me. I am a proud part owner of Comic Logic. We are the only comic book store in Loudoun County, Virginia. So if you're in Virginia, please come see us. You can catch me every Wednesday morning, get my weekly fix of books. We're mainlining it right in this vein right here, getting those comics in there. And we do a Facebook Live show at Comic Logic. First Thursday of the month, we do a preview show where we talk about the new books that'll be coming out through the Previews magazine. Second, third Thursday, we do our Ye Grumpier Old Nerd show. And you can catch me and my best friend Mike Harbour and our principal owner Rob Kalin, and we're talking comics, we're talking movies, sports, anything involved in this geek culture of ours. And we are grumpy and we're old and we're nerds, so we'll tell you to get off our lawn. Get off our lawn.
Oh yeah. Speaking of what you said, my my name for the South Poster was Daring Yellow Kid, and I'm like, I'm gonna get canceled.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
You're a 6-issue mini that's going to stop at number 3.
Yeah. Sal had the best name, but that's why he posted it.
That's right. I was the Savage Silver Robot.
Yeah. So that. Yeah.
Oh, didn't you see the one Wes had? Wes's was pretty good. Let me look it up again.
Oh yeah, I forgot what it was. I don't want to change my screen, so
Give me
look that up.
We got Sapphire Glade.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, is he?
He's back for more punishment.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, Wes's name is
Wes's up in the library. Absolutely, I'm in the library.
Wes's name is Wild Raging Beast.
Wild Raging Beast, nice.
Well, that's a lifestyle. That's
a lifestyle. I guess so. All right, let's move it on. Let's get into our character. Dan, why don't you go ahead and give us our origin story for Wonder Man?
Wonder Man.
All right. Yeah, so as Sal said, the character of the week is Simon Williams, Wonder Man. He first appeared in Avengers issue 9 in October 1964, created by Stan Lee, Don Heck, and Jack Kirby. So like any early Marvel character, of course, Stan and Jack had to have their hands in them because they created it all.
Yes, they did.
So his story is that Simon Williams inherited his company, Williams Innovation, from his father when he died, and the company began losing money because of his biggest competitor, Stark Industries. So he begins embezzling money from the company, and he gets caught, sent to jail, blames Tony for it, and
because it's never his fault.
Yeah. And at one of his bail hearings, his trial, the Enchantress shows up and bails him out, and he says, "I don't know who you are." And she goes, "Oh, I will. You'll see." So she takes him to Baron Zemo, who says, "I'll have you get revenge on Stark and the Avengers because of Iron Man," and gives him superpowers so he can infiltrate and betray the Avengers. And to ensure his loyalty, he makes sure that he needs regular doses of a serum to help him survive after he gets the powers. So he helps get the Avengers captured, decides to free them because it's the right thing to do, even though it's at the cost of his own life. Years later, it was revealed that he actually didn't die. His body from Zemo was transformed into pure ionic energy, and when he seemingly died, he just kind of went into a comatose state as his body was, realigning itself. Then he came back, has been an Avenger in good standing since, even though he has died and come back many times since.
Yeah, that's true.
As far as his powers, he's got super strength. He's got speed, agility, stamina. He's got flight. He has energy projection, teleportation. He's made of energy, so he's essentially immortal. He can alter his size. He could transform into a being of pure energy. He doesn't need to eat or breathe. As far as the power scale go, he's pretty high up there on it.
Yeah, yep, most definitely.
Yes,
all right. Is. Cool. So, all right. So before we jump into getting to our segments, let's go ahead and say, hey, we're on all the socials, people. We've hit 1,000 milestone with subscribers. So come check us out on any streaming platform that you're looking at. Do @ the CODEX Station, and you'll be able to find us. So do a like, do a share, do a follow, and if you take a screenshot saying I'm in on any social platform that we have, you could be entered into our contest to win some great stuff.
But you have to be subscribed.
Got to be subscribed though. So that's why you need the screenshot showing subscribed and saying I'm in. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. Let's see. We're going to start with what scenarios work best for this character. And so, Uncle Gary, why don't you start us off first and say what works best for Wonder Man?
Well, I think what works best for Wonder Man is when he's a team player, when he's hooked into the Avengers. This was a guy that did not seek the limelight in being a superhero. He was kind of thrust into it, and like Dan alluded to, You know, he was kind of coerced by Zemo to get revenge on Tony Stark, you know, through Stark's lackey. At that time, people believed Iron Man was his bodyguard. Some believed he was his lackey. And that's how he would get it. And when Wonder Man had a change of heart after he had captured the Avengers, he realized that Zemo was going to kill the Avengers. And so that's when Wonder Man was not having that. And he sacrificed his life to save them. So he works best when he's a member of a team. I like him much better that way than just as a solo character. And he's a vital cog. I mean, he is a powerhouse on any team that he is on. You know, he's one of the guys that he's just a hair under Thor class strength. So he's, you put him in many situations and he's pretty damn near unstoppable. He's almost invulnerable. Like Dan said, he is energy. He can be dissipated, but he works best when he's a member of a team, and he's interesting because he's a reluctant hero. And he didn't, like I said, he did not seek this out. And then when he first came back from from being comatose or being in a dormant state all that time, he was very confused and he didn't want to go back to that darkness. So he struggled with his fear, and he had to overcome his fear when he would go into combat because he did not want to die again. So that humanized him to me when I first read him, that here's this character, all this power, but he still has to fight these bouts of sometimes crippling fear because he does not want to die again. So I think that makes him a interesting and a complex character. And when he got over that and he moved on from that, it made him an even more complete hero when he was fully confident. But it was an interesting journey to get him there.
Totally agree. Totally agree. I'll go ahead and I'll go next, and I will echo your statements on a lot of that. I think he does work well or best as a team player, but I want to say, especially when he just pairs with the Beast.
Yes.
When it's him and Beast, I think he's perfect. You know, he has the right amount of like comedy or chemistry. I wouldn't say really comedy. But between the two of them, they look like they're enjoying, or they like what they're doing together. You know, and the way they play off each other is perfect. It's like two best friends. And I don't know how else to describe it, but the pairing between them two. Go ahead.
It's one of the greatest friendships in comics, without a doubt. One of the greatest friendships. And when I first started reading Avengers, the Beast was an Avenger, so I knew him as an Avenger before I did an X-Men. And Dan and I have talked about this. I hate what's being done to the Beast in the X-Men books right now. Yeah. But the Beast I love is the Beast that was an Avenger, and he and Wonder Man are best buds, and they give each other hell. They play jokes on each other. They're kind of like Booster and the Beetle a little bit.
Booster and Beetle. Yeah, that's true.
In the DC universe. But it's just a great friendship, and I agree with you. That he is, when the two of them are together, it's always a great story and a great party. And you feel the friendship. You love the friendship.
Right. That's where I think that's where I was going. You really see or feel the friendship between the two.
Yep.
And I dare say that he comes out of his shell more when it's just him and Beast, as opposed to being on a huge team and being in like an epic type of fight. But I totally agree with you on being the reluctant hero. I totally agree with you on that fear of dying again humanizes him. That was that makes him I wouldn't say believable, but more realistic to me.
And in a way, maybe more heroic.
Yeah, exactly, and more heroic. I agree. I agree. All right, Dan, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said, especially the relationship with the Beast. And even though I liked his solo series, because I bought all of them, I do like him better as I do like him as a member of the Avengers because he's got those relationships. He's got that friendship with Beast. He's got that that what he looks at as a Vision as being his brother because of the Vision's brain or his brainwaves being used in Vision. He's got that relationship with with Scarlet Witch. Who I actually like him with Scarlet Witch better than I like Vision and Scarlet Witch together. So he's got the trust of the Avengers, but I also like it too when, like Gary said, he's the reluctant hero. Like, he doesn't necessarily want to be a superhero all the time. He went and became an actor. They kind of got rid of the whole thing with him being having to do with his technology company, but he went and tried to be an actor and was a stuntman and worked his way up to being an actor. Was always struggling with trying to get this part, trying to get that, and having the superhero stuff get in the way. But I think it made him a better character because at the end of the day, even though he would always be reluctant and be like, I really don't want to do this, he would always put being a hero in front of whatever it was he was doing in his own life.
Yeah, that's very true.
That selflessness that he has, I think, really stands out with him too.
That selflessness was apparent when he went and was a member of the West Coast Avengers. He really came in his own in the Avengers, and he really felt his place, and he wasn't searching for it, and he felt like he was he helped found that team. But his Hollywood career was really going well then, and he had moved from stuntman work to some leading roles. And the public had given him a break on the embezzlement thing because most of them believed that it was his brother, Eric Williams, who ended up being the villain, the Grim Reaper, that he was the one that embezzled it. But on an appearance on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, Simon Williams let the world know that he was the one that embezzled, and he apologized live, on the air, and he wanted to clear he wanted everyone to know that it was him. So again, that's that selflessness, that's that humbleness, that's wanting to set the record straight, which, it's just another cool aspect of that character that he didn't want, that he had been kind of right. The public had assumed that, and he had never set the record straight. And
right.
And that was a cool, that was a neat, admission. And that, they portrayed Johnny Carson as being sympathetic. And of course, early on in the when he was on the Avengers East Coast team, he appeared on David Letterman.
Yeah.
So that was a kick too. But
yeah, that's
anyway,
always funny.
That's part of the selflessness of
circling back to that responsibility of doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Which is one of his strongest traits, I think.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so for our next segment, we're gonna go with 3 badass moments. So, I'm sorry, Dan, why don't you kick us off for that?
All right, so the 3 I've got. The first one I'm going to say is from Dark Reign, Lethal Legion 2, the miniseries. He it goes. It's kind of like that where he has a celebrity. He's going on TV, but he goes on TV and exposes Norman Osborn and the Dark Avengers, and this was all.
Oh yeah,
the war and stuff. And exposes all of them and what's going on. Ends up getting arrested and going to prison because of it. And he knew that would happen, but just did it because like this is the right thing to do. Like the public needs to know this, and he knew that he could use his his celebrity outside of being a superhero as a platform where he could get that out there. I've also got Avengers Volume 3, which is 52 and 54. It was when Kang had essentially beaten the Avengers and won and taken over the world, and they're still having like fighting him as a resistance, and they have to they're trying to get volunteers to go on this mission to destroy his big base, Damocles, and Wonder Man volunteers for it. And even when it becomes clear that like them going after it is a no-win scenario, he doesn't back down. He still keeps going on because he knows it's the only option they have to save the world is to do this, even if it's if there's no chance for them. And spoiler alert, they're the Avengers, so they won.
Oh, you ruined it for me now. I can't read the book.
But my top one is from a Marvel graphic novel, The Avengers Emperor Doom, when Dr. Doom kidnaps Purple Man and uses his influence to take over the world, like puts him in this big crystal battery type thing and takes control of him and uses him to take over the world. Well, Wonder Man was in this hibernation state because Iron Man was studying his ionic physiology at the time. So he's supposed to be in it for a month, and he wakes up at the end of the month and he's going around like, what's going on? What's going on with the world? And he finds that Doom has won and taken over, and he has to be the one to step up and save everybody. So he picks a couple of Avengers that he knows are stronger willed and like finds a way to kind of revive them and goes after Doom, and then is fighting Doom himself, essentially one-on-one at the end there. So he we lost
Yeah, he froze there. I saw him freezing. Then okay, go ahead.
So he essentially he was the one that saved the world, because without him they would not have beaten Doom. And it did show at the end too that Doom had taken over the world and was kind of like, nothing's exciting anymore. Now it's now I don't have adventure, now I have bureaucracy. So that plays something to it too. But even still, like, they wouldn't have been able to do it without Wonder Man.
No, not at all. I knew where that was going.
The three that I've got. What about you, Gary? What do you have?
Well, first, Sal, did you have badass moments?
I do, but you can go next. It's also
well
good.
I have 5, and if you have a couple, well, no, it's just I don't.
I'll go next then.
It sounds like me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I've got 16. You go first, and any that you mention, I'll cross off my list.
Right.
Very good. Then I will go next with my 3 badass moments. I'm going to start off with my first one as the his first appearance, Avengers Volume 1, number 9, where he sacrifices himself to save the Avengers. And even in this first issue, you can see that characteristic where doing the right thing is something he has to do. And he has a good quote in there, and he said, I don't know, Dan, now if I got this wrong, go ahead and correct me on this, but I believe he goes, perhaps every man dreams of doing one noble thing in their life. Now I could die knowing that I didn't live my life in vain. And that is just good. I got it right. I got it right.
Good.
But I remembered it, but I had to lean on Dan to get the full quote. But that paragraph, or that little speech right there, was just perfect for his character. And so that's why I listed it as a badass moment. The next one I'm going to mention is actually Wonder Man Volume 2, Issue 25. And he's talking to his brother, Eric. And at this point, he's overcoming his fear of death. And he's like, I'm not that horrified little boy watching anymore, Eric. He goes, I don't need anybody to lead me or approve of me. He goes, I know what to do is what I have to do. He goes, I do know I can do what's right, and I have to do it, or something to that effect. And he goes, and that's what makes a hero. And that transition point, that was when he was overcoming that fear of death, and it just stands out for me as a badass moment. And for my last one, I have Adventures Volume 3, number 3. So in this one, they're battling. He has to battle some Avengers that have been mind controlled at this time, and Wanda brings him or summons him back to help in the fight, and he attacks Morgan directly, and he supercharges himself to a huge size and fights the battle. But with all the energies, I believe he explodes Morgan, and he destroys most of Vision's body during the process. It was just a pretty epic scene for me.
The Scarlet Witch was channeling energy to beat Morgan.
Yes.
So she has reconstituted Wonder Man's, because Morgan put everything into a different state where the Avengers were into a different realm, and their minds were wiped, and they didn't quite know what was going on, and they started to break out of the trances. And the Scarlet Witch, was held by Morgan because Morgan knew that she could undo the spells she had cast. Mm-hmm. But the witch freed herself by reaching out for help, and because Wonder Man loved her, which is an interesting triangle, because the Vision and Scarlet Witch were married, but like Dan had said, Wonder Man's brain patterns were used for the Vision. So of course they're attracted to the same woman. Of course they are. So Wonder Man loves her, and her need brings him back, and he saves her.
Yeah.
And then he ends up saving the entire Avengers when she needs him. He comes back and he enlarges himself, and she's channeling energy into him to fight her. And then all the Avengers at one point link up, and they're giving their energy. And she knows that if she keeps channeling energy into him, that it's going to be an overload, and it is going to explode him. And he tells her, bring it on, keep doing it. Don't stop. And she hesitates, and then Morgan lashes out and kills the Vision in that realm. And then bam, the witch puts it all in, everything into it, and says, forgive me, Simon, and tear comes down her eye. But Simon is happy. He's grabbing the sword that she's using, and then he explodes her and himself and is happy to make the sacrifice. But again, it's a badass moment. He sacrifices himself for everybody.
It's another tribute to the character, of doing what's right, what he felt was right to do.
Absolutely.
All right. Go ahead, Gary. Give us your 3 badass.
Well, that's good. That was one of my 5.
Okay. Your 15.
In Avengers 160, which is one of my favorite single issues of all time, Wonder Man first finds out that his brother Eric is the Grim Reaper, and over the years since Avengers 9, and starting with Avengers 52 as the first appearance of the Grim Reaper, he's holding the Avengers accountable for the death of his brother.
Right.
Well, after the Vision's created, it becomes known that the Vision was the brain patterns were his brother's. And the Reaper begins to believe that the Vision is some Ersatz version of his brother, and he tries to befriend him and say, turn on the Avengers. They killed my brother. You're my brother. And the Vision has played along at times with the Reaper to get the best of him, but the Reaper still is considered the Vision, maybe his brother. Well, when Wonder Man comes back on the scene and is resurrected by Black Talon in Avengers 152, the Reaper has observed this, and in Avengers 160, he captures the Avengers in Avengers Mansion, and he puts these negabands that control their powers on them. And where they got that tech is very mysterious, as he alludes to in the issue. But he's putting on a trial now, and he's going to determine which one is his brother, the Vision or this newly resurrected Wonder Man. And whichever he determines is not, is going to die because he's an atrocity. And he's going to kill him. And it's really cool scenes where the Black Panther is acting as a defense attorney, playing along. It's he's really elegant, like he always is. And and at one point, when Simon says, "Eric, that's Eric," and the Grim Reaper says, "You couldn't even tell him that his brother, about his brother being alive, and his brother, trying to, protect his legacy." And the Black Panther says, "Maybe none of us wanted to tell him that his brother was a maniac." So it's just, none of us had the heart to tell him that. So
that's cool.
Through the course of this trial, the Vision says, "I am not Simon Williams. I am not. And if I must die for that, then better I die than this man who's been newly resurrected to die again." And so the Reaper determines that he's going to execute the Vision. He's going to kill the Vision. And Simon is not in his thrall. These bands don't work on him. He's been playing possum the whole time. And then he just goes to town on his brother, and his brother's hitting him with these energy blasts that, again, all his powers have been really souped up. And at the end, the energy blasts aren't affecting him, and the Reaper puts the blade out where it's spinning, the scythe, and it just right into his chest, and the blade just breaks into pieces, and it tears up his uniform, and he knocks his brother out, hits him pretty viciously, and Scarlet Witch thanks him for saving her husband, for saving the Vision, and the Beast says, "Wendy, is there anything this bouncing beastie can do for you?" he says, yeah, I'd like to be alone for a while. And he just sits there and puts his head down. And it's just a really poignant, sad, bittersweet scene that here he's, and during the course of this, he also reveals for the first time, he takes his shades off, and you see that his eyes aren't normal eyes, they're energy, that he's energy behind him. And so he says he's not quite human. So that is a big reveal in that too. So it's just a really poignant scene at the end where he's just looking down, his uniform's been shredded, and he's looking down and he's, just pondering what is he? What is his existence? And that he's had to do this to his brother. He's had to beat down his brother.
So that's one of my stories, and we'll get to that when we get to stories. But when I first read that issue, I felt like they were like showing a little bit of tidbits of his past, and this is what really sticks out in my head is when he was like being resurrected by the Talon. It was almost like a zombie type state creature, you know, and for him to come back from that was just, that was just amazing to me.
Well, it was a great advancement of the storyline. Jerry Conway brought him back, and Jim Shooter wrote these issues here. I have a matter of fact, on Avengers 160 here, signed by Jim Shooter.
Nice. So, that's the issue I've got.
Signed at the bottom. Signed at the bottom by Shooter. So, and I thanked him, and that is one of my, if we ever do a show where we do our favorite standalone issues, that's one of mine. So that was a badass moment. Him walking into the Blade, was just
and then
total
badass. Like the smoke is like coming off him. The uniform's all ripped up, and he's just like it did nothing,
And so my second badass moment in Avengers 165, they're in the middle of a fight with Count Nefaria, who is like a Superman level villain with his strength. Nefaria is pretty much battering him around, and he is picking up a 40-story building and throwing it, collapsing it on top of the Avengers. Cap, the Panther's been knocked out. Cap's trying to drag him. Beast is there. I think Wasp is there. Yellow Jacket, and the building is collapsing on him. Wonder Man goes to catch the building. And he says, "Cap, I'm afraid to push on it because it's going to collapse and crumble. I'm afraid to, do too much else to it." And Cap is telling Beast, Yellow Jacket, "You two are the only ones fast enough. Get out of here." And Beast says, "I hate traveling alone." And so the building collapses on top of him. So cut to a few pages later, Iron Man has come late to the party, and he's blasting away the rubble. They're down there, and he's saying, well, maybe Wonder Man survived. Maybe Wasp and Yellow Jacket have found a crevice that they've survived, and he's fearing the worst for his teammates because he knows that they're under an entire building. And he gets to a point where he blasts away the rubble, and they're in a pocket underneath the ground. The Wasp and Yellow Jacket and Wanda was there, had blasted out like a foxhole, and Wonder Man has been holding up the building the entire time. Just holding the building like Atlas the entire time. So I think that's pretty badass.
That is.
I think Yellow Jacket said it's a good thing Wendy doesn't ever get tired. but pretty cool. I just thought that was pretty cool. And the last one I'll go with is in the Korvac saga, and this again had different writers, but Shooter, I think, was principal behind most of these. I think he had the plot on it. A lot of times he didn't do the script, but I think he had the outline plot, and sometimes he would do the script. In the finale, where all the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy go after Korvac, there's a scene where he is beating them up, and Korvac is killing him. He's killing the Avengers and the Guardians. Killing them. And Cap stands up. This would be another scene that Dan would love. I assume he's read, but where Cap is slugging it out with Korvac, he lets his guard down, and Cap has caught him off guard and is beating him. Hitting him pretty good blows, and Korvac kills Cap, throws him through the wall, and Wonder Man loses his shit, and he goes. He gets right on Korvac, and says, I used to be afraid of death, but I'm not afraid anymore, because if me dying means that the universe lives, then I'm giving you everything I've got. And he is hammering Korvac, and he jumps at Korvac, is going right for his throat. And Korvac says, I got to, Michael or Korvac, he's using both names. He says, I've got to be swift, brutal. And he blasts Wonder Man with everything he's got. But, and Wonder Man's gone at this point. He has killed him. That's when it's given Iron Man, it's given Thor, it's given Vision time to regroup. And they use that time to, they use that time that Wonder Man bought them to take Korvac on. And Korvac in his, it's a really cool story. In his dying breath, he resurrects all the Avengers and lets himself die. But still, it was really cool. Wonder Man, that's when he totally faced his fears that he had been having. And he's like, to hell with it. If it means I die, I die. And he goes out slugging. And I just thought that was a pretty cool moment. Epic moment.
I think that was in 177, wasn't it?
177, absolutely.
Yeah, 77. Yep.
Yeah, that was a great storyline.
It was a great storyline, absolutely.
I agree.
And it built for a long time. That storyline had built. And just like we talked about the 160, the technology that the Reaper had was supplied by Ultron.
Yeah.
So, so 161 and 162 were great Ultron issues. So, but after that, everything built to that 177, and that was just the Korvac saga. For people out there that haven't read it, high recommendation. Great book.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. All right, so for our next segment, we're going to jump to critiques and criticisms. And Gary, why don't you go ahead and kick us off? What don't you like about this character?
The same thing Dan doesn't like. Wonder Man the pacifist. What the heck is that? And I tell you, now what the badass moment I didn't use that I had was, as the pacifist, he held the Hulk at bay and no surrender. The Hulk is they're trying to hold the Hulk off, and he actually holds the Hulk at bay without coming to blows with him, trying to talk him down. And he says, "You can't hurt me." And the Hulk is talking trash to him. Yeah, I can, Williams. I can get you. I can do this and that. But the whole time he keeps calling him Bruce. He keeps trying to get engaged.
Yeah.
And so, perseverance there. That was pretty tough. He stuck to his guns and wasn't going to fight him. And it was a badass moment. But I hate Wonder Man as the pacifist. I don't like it at all. Another thing, that's the one I hate the worst. Sometimes I hate it that he does get manipulated a little too much mentally. They've had him a little bit unstable, where at one point before he turned pacifist, he turned totally against the Avengers because he believed that they were causing more harm than they were doing good because of all their battles and the things they were getting embroiled with, that they would tear apart the city. And so he was going to take the Avengers down, and he took it to them. And
he made a team, right? That's when he made the Revengers.
Yeah, he made the Revengers, absolutely. And he has been manipulated by the Reaper before and by others. And there are a couple of things where he was brought back from the dead in like zombie state. But even after he regained his consciousness, he'd been mentally manipulated a few times. But with the Revengers, he was misguided. He was actually put in jail after that too. And so at part of it was at the end of it, there was a poignant moment where Cap and Iron Man were reminiscing about it, and they were talking about it. And I think Cap says, I think the worst part of it is we both know that he might be right. That he had a point. So, and then Wonder Man comes out of that in this, they've collected this Avengers End Times, and he kind of gets he gets a little bit of his mojo back in the respect of the team back when he goes and rescues the team when they go after the Wasp, who's been trapped in a microverse for for a couple of years, and he saves the day there. So that starts to get him back in the good graces. But then it's not long after that where they take him down the pacifist path that I guess he's still on, right, Dan?
As far as I know, I haven't seen anything I haven't seen anything with him. They're not really using him a whole lot right now either. Which
right,
is
yeah.
But
With the movie coming up, you think they're going to have to.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got that Disney
Mhm.
Plus series coming up. So like anything, they're gonna put him back in the spotlight a little bit before sometime before that happens.
Right.
You would think.
When's that expected date for that?
I
forgot that.
I don't know.
And I can't believe we'll have a Disney Plus series with a Marvel character that's a pacifist and won't fight. I can't believe that. I can't believe that spells big viewership.
Even that issue behind you, the Wonder Man 1, which I have, on the rack here, they're saying that's an issue that has, as it gets closer to the series, that's an issue that has potential to go up in value because nobody really knows much about the series, but they're speculating that it's going to borrow heavily from that series, and they cast Bob Odenkirk for a role, an undisclosed role in it, but the thought is that he's going to be he's going to be playing Wonder Man's agent who first appears in that issue.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right, the guy with the Black Manta is supposed to be Aquaman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which,
all right, Dan.
We'll see how well that goes.
Why don't you go ahead and give us your critiques and criticisms then?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. The pacifist angle, like, it just no.
no.
Yeah, I'll say this. I can see how they would get him to that point because, as we've talked about, he has always, struggled with being a reluctant hero at points. And, it's not like it's something that he sought out, like, I'm going to go be a superhero. He just has the power and, will always go and do what's right. So to an extent with him, kind of, not seeking out, being a superhero, it makes sense to a point, but I don't like, that they've gone full on pacifist for him. They could have done the storyline better where, he doesn't just, that he does try and solve problems without violence first, but, at the end of the day, if he has to throw down, he'll throw down. But they've just completely like, no, I'm not going to do anything. Like, it's just, it's dumb. I can't stand it with him. And then the fact too that like he's being so underused right now. Like, all right, you thought enough of him that you're giving him his own TV series.
You know who else thought a lot of him? The ladies have thought a lot of him.
Well, yeah.
Scarlet Witch is on his notch. He's got that notched. Tigra, he's got that notched.
Yeah, I was gonna say is
Carol Danvers, he's got that notched. So Wendy's done all right. The Enchantress, he had that notched. So
plus he was engaged to be married in his solo series before
that just dissipated. Yeah.
I don't know which time that it was when he blew up in Force Works. But I don't know which second death is third death. I don't know.
Well, he's energy. You can't kill energy.
Yeah, you can't kill him. Like you just blow him up and eventually he'll come back. But yeah, I like I said, I just like Gary. I don't like that whole pacifist thing. But then again, too, if you want to go by it, he is alive in the future in the original Guardians of the Galaxy, where he is known as Hollywood, and he is definitely not a pacifist then. So
no.
I'm just going to go with at some point that he's going to outgrow this and realize, okay, this is working. I need to figure something else out.
That's right.
I need to throw some hands. I need to throw those hands. So my critiques are pretty much going to be the same thing. I don't care for the pacifist ideal. I don't mind it as much because he's so overpowered and so extremely powerful that I can see it because he doesn't want to, be that destructive, and he's trying a different option to be not that person. But I don't like it because I think it's overdone. I also agree about the being manipulated too much, and I feel like it comes back from the dead that he's, that's the perfect time to try and take him over, because that's where his mental state is all messed up.
Scrambled, yeah.
So scrambled. So I can't really expand any more on that. I think you guys did a great job on that. And I think my dog wants to come in. Come on. There we go.
Being the pacifist doesn't sell comic books because that Gandhi comic book is just not doing well at all.
What are you talking about? I got a 9.8 on that sucker. It's
Do
like
you?
$10,000.
Well, there you go. Very good for you, my friend.
Yes. Okay, so
Yeah,
on
all
to
you
our
have
next
to
thing.
do is have Venom appear in it, and Sal will buy 20 copies.
What? No, come on. Maybe 1 or 2. Okay, that's
100.
100. Yeah, that's right. 1,000.
Oh God, you guys are killing me. You guys are killing me.
You
Killing me, Swall.
On to our next segment, top covers. And
Covers.
let's go with Gary. Let's say your top covers here. Let me pull them up, and we got to show Tim's readings and covers.
Oh, please, let's show Tim
Yeah, let's
too.
start with Tim's. Since
All right, let's go with
he
Tim.
unfortunately is under the weather, cannot join us tonight.
Where is Tim's top covers?
We should have had him just put a cardboard cutout of him on another.
You could have had his shirt. You should have had his shirt next to you.
Yeah.
Yep. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim's top covers. And there they are. Okay.
Very good. Love them.
He's got Wonder Man number 55, Wonder Man number 5, and of course Wonder Man number 1.
The 55 is Marvel Premiere 55.
Yeah, the Marvel Premiere. Sorry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's okay, and that's his first solo book.
Mm-hmm.
So
awesome. And I guess the second one's where he's teaming up with the Beast. I think I had that one as well, or had that as a cover or a possibility as one. So, yeah,
I really like the number 1. The Wonder Man 1 is one of my favorite covers. I didn't use that because I figured you all would, so I was trying to get us maybe a few more unique covers in there. Yeah. And that's by Jeff Johnson, who y'all will interview soon.
Yes.
And so is the Wonder Man and Beast cover. The middle one is also Johnson.
Yeah. He was the artist on that to start that ongoing series.
Yep,
definitely. And check out the background on that Wonder Man number 1 with Hollywood and the movie set director in the back with the dinosaur back there. That's pretty wicked.
Yep, I love it.
All right, Uncle Gary, I'm going to show you your covers now.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go. So the first one is Avengers 14, Volume 3, and that is a great fun issue. That's the Beast and Wendy reuniting after Wendy had come back from the dead and saved them from Morgana Le Fay. Yeah. And just a great issue. Busick did a great job writing him, and George Perez also co-plotted that. And I love how he drew Beast and Wonder Man. And, he draws the Beast more like a monkey. And then, which I dig. I dig that version of the Beast. But again, their friendship is really explored. And Wendy and the Beast have some really great in-depth conversations in this issue. It's fantastic. The middle one is Avengers 158, where Wendy and the Vision throw down. The Vision is not happy that he feels Wonder Man is a threat for his relationship with the Scarlet Witch, and he's got a little jealousy going on. And that, my friends, is a great Jack Kirby cover. Look at that. Look at the action. Look at that fist of Wonder Man getting ready to throw into the Vision, who's immaterial at the time. He's altering his density. But I just think that's a great classic Jack Kirby cover, with all the other Avengers on there as well. So anytime you get Jack to, that's one of my favorite later covers of his, from the later part of his Marvel days. And then the last one is a Wonder Man number 1, and that was a one shot, and that is a Bill Sienkiewicz. So I just think that's in the safari jacket, which is not my favorite outfit by far. But
agree.
I just think that's a cool cover, though. I dig it. So those are my
All right, cool. All right. Before we jump into the next set of covers, we have Tone that's checking us out tonight. Hey, Tone, what's going on?
Tone.
And he says we definitely need a well-written Wonder Man in the current comic.
Here, man.
Agree.
Please, Tone, get it done. You got any influence for those cats at Marvel, man? Because we need a Wonder Man that we can be proud of again.
I will say, proud to say that, as you can see, so far, every cover that's been shown, I actually own, which I think is the first time that it is the first time that that's happened on here. Like every cover that's shown, I'm like, I've got that.
Nice.
So we'll
Awesome.
see. We'll see if we can continue the trend.
Okay.
All right, Dan. Here's your covers.
I do have all of these. Yeah. So I also picked Marvel Premiere 55. Like Gary, the safari jacket look is not my favorite, but I mean that is just such a badass cover.
You love it. Come on, you guys love it.
It's just Wonder Man is a character that is a history of not so great costumes.
Yeah.
I like the black one. I like his original green one. I like the black one. And the one that Beast made for him with all the colors is pretty trippy. Didn't last long.
Oh, that one was terrible. I
love
that one was, and the sad part for me on that one was I think that costume had potential to be a good looking costume, but like the color combination and the way it was on there was not great.
Well, Beast made it. It's Hank McCoy's fault.
Yeah.
Yes.
but anyways, yes, the Marvel Premiere 55. It's his first solo story. But like I said, even though I'm not a big fan of that costume, that is just such an awesome cover.
Yep.
The middle one there, Avengers Volume 3, number 3. That was the one that Sal had in his badass moment where he came back. Wanda brought him back, and he helped him defeat Morgan Le Fay. But it's just so awesome where he's like, you see his energy form there, and it was really striking. And then on the end there too, I also have Wonder Man issue 1. Like it's just it's a great pose. Johnson did a fantastic job on the his artwork on the series was good, but the covers he did for it, like he had some really great covers. There was this one. There was also the cover for Wonder Man issue 10, where it's him with these skulls and it says "Dead Again." I almost picked that one too, but but I wanted to pick I wanted to pick covers from like an array of different Wonder Man appearances. But yeah, his covers on that series were fantastic.
All right, cool, excellent. Let's see. Sapphire has a comment. Let's go ahead and go over there. He says he needs a Spider-Man main comic to be proud of again. Latest Spider-Man by Dan Slott, issues 1-6 were some of the best I've read. After that, he said it fell off.
So are we not recommending the Zeb Wells run to him?
I guess we're not. Tim would not recommend this.
Tim would not recommend that. Tim would not allow us to recommend that.
That is true. All right.
So I think we still got to see your covers there, Sal.
Yep. Let's go ahead and show them. I like showing the comments, so that's why I bumped into it.
Yes.
All right. So,
that's a full sweep. I've got every cover that was shown.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. So I chose Avengers 23 because I like Gary was alluding to this love triangle between Wanda and the Vision and Wonder Man, because Wonder Man and Vision are practically the same. They both love the same woman. So this shows that. And I think that was pretty cool. The next one is Avengers number 25, I believe it is. I can see that, right? Yep.
Wonder Man 25.
Yep. And this is where he's busting out. I thought this was a pretty cool issue with him breaking out of the globe there. It was pretty cool. And
you know who that is holding the globe, right?
That's no, I do not. Mephisto?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mephisto. Yep. If I remember the story right, it was Mephisto holding him like that.
It was, yeah.
And like I said, there's another awesome Jeff Johnson cover.
Yep. And of course, then I've got Wonder Man number 5 with Beast and him tonight, because I just think the pairing of these two are amazing, and they work well together. So that's why I went with that.
So here's the other one that I was saying that almost made my list, but I didn't want to have a bunch. I wanted to have covers from different iterations, but this is a fantastic one too.
I almost put Avengers 9 on there with my Kirby cover, but I put 158. So I know you're happy I didn't.
I almost went with that. I almost went with that Avengers 160 with the trial. I almost went with that one.
Yeah, that's such a great book. I mean, such a great cover.
Well, Avengers number 9. I think somebody has that on their shirt, don't they?
Yep. Sal does.
There we go.
There it is. There you go.
There we go.
Somebody has that in their collection with all the other Avengers.
Dan, is that you?
If I wouldn't have been such a blockhead a few years ago when I had the chance to buy a copy, it would have been. But unfortunately, yeah.
All right, folks. let's jump over to our recommended readings, and I will bring up Tim's first so we can take a look at Tim's recommended. So Tim recommends Wonder Man Volume 2, issues 1 through 5, West Coast Avengers Volume 2, 1 through 5, and Avengers Volume 1, number 9. I wonder why.
There you go. So West Coast Avengers Volume 2, that's the Volume 1 is the first 4-issue miniseries. And then so that's the 1 through 5 is the first of the ongoing. And then Wonder Man Volume 2 is the first of his first ongoing. Volume 1 was just that one shot.
That one shot.
With the Bill Sienkiewicz cover. Yep.
Okay.
So good
All
choices.
Right. Uncle Gary, let's go right to yours.
All right. Avengers 160, The Trial. We've discussed that episode at length. That is a fantastic book. Dan discussed Emperor Doom, the Marvel graphic novel number 27, and that was amazing. And without Wonder Man, the world would still be under Doom's thrall.
Yeah.
My other recommended reading is a larger bite. It's the Avengers Volume 3, 1 through 14. So 1, 2, 3 are the issues with Morgana Le Fay, and then the issues after it, a lot of great stories, and you deal with the fact that Wanda is starting to be able to summon him, and she's worried. She goes to Cap and says she doesn't want to do this because she feels like she's using Simon as a weapon. And then at one point, Moses Magnum knocks her out, and Wonder Man appears without her summoning him and is pissed off, and he goes to town on Magnum. So after that, Wonder Man was incorporated and was corporeal again. So that was really cool. And then that led to 14, that issue that I had on one of my covers where the Beast comes back, and he and the Beast have a great reunion, and they talk about life and Wendy's new purpose, that he's back now, and it's just a really great great story. And it's collected in a big hardcover by Perez and Busick called Avengers Assemble. I actually have a copy of that with me. So
cool.
So if we go back to me, it's when we see a picture, I'll tell you.
Absolutely. Hang on.
It's in this book, and you know what this book comes with? A George Perez signature.
Nice.
Well, not all of it.
Comes with that. George Perez, a prince of a man. A prince of a man.
Okay. All right, Dan, you're up next.
All right, so that's still Tim's. I was like,
I'm sorry. Pardon me.
I was like, did he type mine up wrong?
No. Pardon me. I clicked the wrong box. My fault.
All right, so I'm gonna go with a little offbeat one. What If Volume 2, Issue 5. It is the main title of it is What If the Vision had destroyed the Avengers, but it's also What If Wonder Man hadn't died, and that was the crux of the story. So I kind of picked that because it was a very, even though it's an alternate reality what if thing, it's a very Wonder Man centric book. So the crux of it is that when he decides that he's going to help the Avengers in his first appearance, he does it earlier than he does in the regular reality. So they end up finding a way to save him, and he joins the Avengers then, and then he sticks around. So after Wasp and Giant Man leave, and then after Iron Man and Thor leave, and it's him and Cap, and then Wanda and Quicksilver and Hawkeye, and him and Wanda start getting a relationship, and Quicksilver being the hot-headed guy has an issue with it, and then you just see all this chain of events that happened a bit differently going through Avengers history because he had lived instead of dying, and he ended up becoming the leader of the Avengers when Cap left, and when Ultron built the Vision's body, since there were no brainwaves from Wonder Man because he hadn't died, then Ultron put himself in the Vision's body, and then the Vision attacks the Avengers and beats them all, and it ended up being that Wonder Man ended up dying in the story, but then at that point, then they scanned his brainwaves and put it in the Vision's body. So he still ended up kind of becoming the Vision in a roundabout way, but it ended up being a really cool story and had some really good. It was written and drawn by Jim Valentino, so it was it's a fun issue to read. Like I said, very Wonder Man centric. The second one I have is the one shot Wonder Man Volume 1, Issue 1, just because it's a good place where you can read that, and it has the solo adventure with him and him kind of trying to find his place with the Avengers and with having a life outside the Avengers, but it also retells his origin at the beginning of the book too. So you can read that and get up to date on the character for his origin, how he came back to life, how he joined the Avengers, and everything up to that point, and then has his adventure too. So it's a it's a really good introduction book to the character. And then I also picked the miniseries Avengers 2, Wonder Man and Beast 1 through 3. It was a 3-issue miniseries. And it was drawn by, yes, Tim, that is Bagley art. Drawn by Mark Bagley.
Bagley art?
Yeah. And it's just a really fun series. It picks up with Wonder Man and Beast kind of reuniting and going on this adventure. And it picks up a lot of I guess unresolved plot threads from when he had his ongoing book when it ended, and then he ended up going was killed in the first issue of Force Works, which was essentially it was the 90s version of West Coast Avengers, 95 or however you want to say it, but he died in the first issue, and then when he gets brought back later in Avengers, this takes place around that time, like Gary said, for when he was brought back in that Busiek Perez run. And this book kind of, had the adventure with him and Beast, but also tied up a lot of loose plot threads that were left from his solo book. So I guess I would also say you have to read the first 25 issues of his solo book and then read this too.
Okay.
So I guess I have 4 recommended readings.
4 recommended readings. All good. All good. All right, so let's go ahead and show mine here. There we go. Of course, I've got Avengers 160, The Trial. I mean,
excellent choice.
We've already talked about this at length, so I don't think I can add anything else to that. It's just a great story all around. It just so happens it was one of the first comic books I got as a kid. I went to the county fair, and they were handing out comic books, and this was one of them. And the Marvel team up with Spider-Man and Iron Man was the other one that I got. So that was a long time ago. So that's, one of the other book. I wouldn't say it's the first book I read, but it was the first book I actually got my, collected and claimed to be as mine, So anyhow, the next one I got is West Coast Avengers. I started with number 1, but really you could read 1 through 5 or 1 through whatever for this. This is a great story.
1 through 101.
What's that?
1 through 101.
There you go. 1 through 101. I'm not putting 101. But it's
Didn't
just
Kevin
a good
do that on
story.
one of the episodes?
What's that?
Didn't Kevin do that on one of the episodes?
Yeah.
For one of the characters where he's like, read the whole book, and it was like an 80-issue series. I think I did.
I remember that. Archduke, come on, buddy. What's going on? And then my last one I got for Avengers 177, the Korvac saga. Sorry. We've talked about this at length, so I don't need to add anything to this. This is definitely a story you need to check out.
The whole saga is really 167 to 177.
There you go. 167 to 177, folks.
Yeah.
Uncle Gary has deemed it. All right. So
Thus it is.
Check out this now. There we go. We've got some Wonder Man action.
Oh, that's the one from the was it like Avengers cartoon that only ran like 13 episodes?
Yep. And then that was just
the green pants and the black top, right?
He's on his Sky Cycle. Yep.
Nice.
And then look,
The Sky Cycle. There it is, the jacket. Yep.
And when we did 160, what I messed up, there was something I needed to do, was we were going to reenact it.
Uh-oh.
We were going to reenact the Scythe with the Reaper.
Oh, there you go.
I was gonna put the Trial on my list too, for recommended reading, because it's definitely something you got to read. But I was like, I know Gary's gonna put on there. I'm sure someone else will too. So I'm gonna throw a ball with the What If issue.
The What If is a great book.
Yeah.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah.
I know you have
Yep.
it too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
See?
It's
There you go.
yeah, that's from when What If was a really must-read book.
It's
True.
a great book.
True. So yeah, I remember that with the whirling blade. I remember that like Reaper was like actually afraid that was actually going to hurt him.
Yeah.
When he was
And it
backing
just
up.
shattered.
It just shattered. Yep.
It shattered.
All right, guys, let's move on to our next segment. Actually,
Wait, I
our
think you have
last
to
segment.
show. Did you show Gary's recommended reading?
Yep.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. You're right. Never mind.
Yep, we did.
Okay. All right. Our last segment of the night is Best Artist and Writer. And this could be not just the combo on one issue, but it could be an artist from one and a writer from another. So, Gary, why don't you go ahead and tell us your favorite ones?
All right. Well, the first one, the artist is a slam dunk. It's George Perez. So
There you go.
with me, I mean, I think it's a
100%.
slam dunk. Yep, I think it's a
100%.
slam dunk. The writer, I tell you what, the writer's tricky. And after you all give your writers, I mean, I'll tell you who edges out for me, and it's because of the duration of what they did, and that would be Kurt Busiek. And that's because it went from when volume 3 of the Avengers came out, from issue 1. I think Dan, was you talking about the Kang saga with the Sword of Damocles?
Yeah, and that was that ran up until issue. That storyline ended in 54.
50s. So that whole time, Busiek was writing the book generally, and he wrote Wonder Man very well. So I think because of longevity that he gets it. But I tell you what, and the other thing that's kind of close is The Trial, one of my favorite ever, was written by Shooter. The Korvac saga written by Shooter. But David, I'm going to say his name wrong, David Michelini, wrote.
That's right.
He had a hand in writing a lot of those scripts that Shooter had plotted. So it was hand in hand. So it was really tough to pick one of them over the other. And Michelini also did the Marvel Spotlight book, his first solo book. But so it's, one thing that hurts me picking him and Shooter is just because they intertwine so much. It's hard just to pick one. But Busiek's long run, I think, elevates him. But Jerry Conway brought him back in 152. But the fleshing out of that character was really Shooter. And then Michelini got in there and had a lot of input too. So they moved that character along, and I just think where Busiek took that and ran with it was just, brilliant. And his run with George Perez was just, I think, one of the highlights in Avengers history. So, yeah.
Okay, good choice.
Thank you.
Dan, why don't you go ahead next for us?
I gotta say you're totally wrong because I also picked Kurt Busiek and George Perez.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, same thing for Busiek. He, after Wonder Man had been dead in the comics for a while when he was killed in Force Works, Busiek was the one that brought him back. And really, after the debacle that was not just Heroes Reborn, but also like the Avengers title, even before that, was not that great for the last couple years.
Absolutely.
Now, like I like the Avengers, even when it got kind of darker, when Steve Epting was drawing it and Black Knight was the team leader, and it was like him and Cersei and Vision. Like I liked that run, but after that, like it wasn't really great the last couple years. And like I said, Heroes Reborn was not great. So when Busiek and Perez brought that book back, it was a return to greatness for it, and it was fantastic. And yeah, he wrote a great Wonder Man and brought him back. So I had him there for that. And then I almost kind of picked Jeff Johnson because I did like the Wonder Man ongoing series, and I did like how he drew it. But at the end of the day, like if you have a character that was drawn for any great length of time by George Perez, it's hard to pick anybody else other than George Perez as being the best artist to handle him.
I agree. And, resurrecting the Avengers like they did with Volume 3, it's kind of akin to what DC did with the Big Seven when they brought the JLA back with Morrison and with Porter. That was a great run, and you brought it back into prominence. So I think there is a huge parallel on how those two teams came back, gangbusters. So, but yeah, that Busick, and again, look at JLA Avengers that Busick and Perez did.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah.
that's a masterpiece in my mind. So,
But yeah,
yeah,
it was all right. We're not gonna have the team with like one or two big guns and then like a bunch of second tier characters. Like, no, we're giving you all like,
everybody,
and Iron Man and Thor and Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch and Wonder Man. Like, yeah, we're gonna give you Justice and Firestar too, and that's gonna be cool. But like, we're giving you the classic big guns.
and every version of every character you got in that book at some point with the shifting timelines.
Yeah.
So Perez just the one cover to 3. I believe Perez drew 206 characters on it.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. All right, guys. I gotta say, you were 100% wrong on the artist. It's George Perez. So you guys just suck it. Okay.
I respect that opinion. I respect that.
So, but Gary, it's really funny that you mentioned the Michelini and Jim Shooter because I actually wanted to say both of them, and I have on my sheet both of them. But I
and you can, but you can in that because it's intertwined like that. That is viable.
You're 100% accurate, on that. So I was going to choose both Jim Shooter and Dave Michelini. I really was. But if I was forced to pick one, I was going to lean towards Shooter.
If I had to pick one of those two, I would lean towards Shooter too. Yep.
So, all right.
And, they should really bring, like I said earlier, it's a character. They're not using him right now. They're not doing anything with him.
Yeah.
Get Kurt. I know Kurt Busick's. He's kind of doing stuff with DC right now, but you could find a good writer to come to. Like, I think Peter David would probably be able to do some really good stuff with Wonder Man. Give him his own series again, and give him his own series again. Give him a good writer and artist, and even with how they have him set up as a pacifist now, where he's not being used in any books, you could have him kind of go on a journey of self-discovery and get him back to where he needs to be.
So that actually, I was actually going to throw you guys a curveball and ask you that exact question. If he's not being used so much now, what kind of storyline would you like to see him in right now?
I would like I said, I would like to see him kind of self-examining and saying like, all right, I got manipulated into beginning powers to be a bad guy and betrayed them, but then, did the right thing, died, came back, and then, over time realized, I'm not human. He's not human anymore. He is being made of energy. He is essentially immortal, and kind of go on this, journey of self-discovery, going like, well, I was this guy and that didn't work out, and then I was this guy and that didn't work out. Like, now I'm doing this pacifist thing and that's not really working out. Like, and trying to find a way that they could put all of it together where it's his bravery and willingness to self-sacrifice, and some of the pacifist thing where he doesn't want to go in fist first, he wants to find another solution, but also the fact that he is ridiculously overpowered and is going to have to use it at some point, and him coming to terms with it's never going to work out with Wanda, maybe find someone else, and so I'd like to see something like that.
How about you, Gary? What do you think?
Like, hey, he does the acting thing too. Like, let's do something with that again.
Yep.
When we did the interview with Mike Grill, he brought up something that happened with Green Arrow, where Green Arrow, during the Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams run, that the book got canceled, so it had to finish its run as a backup series in Flash, and it might have been in Flash 217 was when it started. And I'm not sure exactly which Flash, if this was the first story or not. But anyway, Green Arrow has been injured, and he shoots an arrow, and he hits a guy in the heart because his arm twinges because of the pain of the injury, and he kills a guy. So Green Arrow swears off violence, and he's burned, like you say, burns his bow. He goes to an ashram, shaves his head, and he's not going to be, he's not going to, take up arms against people anymore. But the Arrow comes around knowing that that's not a way he can live, And in the Longbow Hunters, he has Ollie shoot an arrow through a guy's heart, and kill him. And he made that choice that he was gonna kill somebody for what he did to the canary. So I wouldn't mind seeing Wonder Man have a come to Jesus moment where he has to throw down to save lives, that the pacifist thing isn't getting it, and that's his revelation that he is going to have to use his abilities to do that at times. But like Dan said, I would like to see him as a character that hopes to find another solution, but when it's on, it's on, and he's gonna administer the beat down of your life if that's what it takes. And I would also like him to have that relationship with the Scarlet Witch. I think they was perfect together, because there's a reason he envisioned both loved hers, because of the brain patterns were his.
Same.
And I liked that relationship. And it wasn't, in that Kang part of Busick's run that we referenced, he and Wanda were kind of in a prison camp together.
Oh yeah.
And it was a beautiful relationship that they had. And so I really like that. And I know in more recent times they had them just being friends. And weird things have happened to him. At one point in the Uncanny Avengers, Rogue absorbs him, and he sacrifices himself and allows Rogue to absorb him and his energy. And then Rogue, talk about being overpowered, Rogue had no idea Simon was that strong. I mean, she had to be careful how she touched people after that, because of the strength that Wonder Man, had given her. So, and he was, for about a year, he was, intertwined with her body, and until he broke out of that. So they've used him funky in so many ways. Just bring him back. He's one of the classic Avengers. When you break down and you have like a classic team, he's always on the classic team. People always think Wonder Man is a great Avenger. He's great as a teammate on that. And I would just like to see him back in that aspect. And like I said, he's not going to be the first one to throw a punch, is what I would like to see. But when he does throw a punch, it's beautiful.
He'll be the last one.
Yeah, he's going to be the last one to throw the punch. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to be in the conscience, maybe. A bit of a conscience of the Avengers, saying, hey, we got to be better than this. We can't just, destroy a city, when we fight these guys. So we got to have a better solution. So I like that.
Yep. Awesome. I'm actually going to have to agree. I like that. I actually like to see him more teamed up with the Beast and go back to that chemistry again. And yes, I'd like to see the Scarlet Witch relationship grow as well. So that's something I would like to see.
I'd like to see him bring back West Coast Avengers. I love that series. I have a complete run, and not the way they did it a couple years ago, where it's like, oh, it's Hawkeye, and then the other Hawkeye, and then these like 3 other characters that you don't give a shit about, and the book is canceled a few issues in. Like, let's bring back West Coast Avengers. Let's have Hawkeye. Let's have Wonder Man. Let's throw Scarlet Witch in there, and throw Scarlet Witch and Vision in there, and have that whole thing going on. And then maybe throw in a couple, because it's West Coast Avengers, throw in a couple oddball characters. But I'd like to see that series come back, because I mean, that was a fun series. And then, because it was good that him being on the West Coast tied into the whole, aspect of him trying to be an actor too.
Yep. The Darker Than Scarlet series, where the Scarlet Witch first kind of lost her mind when she realized her kids weren't real, with the John Byrne run of West Coast Avengers, the Vision is dismantled. Yes. And Wanda wants to use his brain patterns to bring him back, and he won't allow it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a, that was pretty, that was a pretty
dark,
deep storyline to do that. And one more interesting thing about the Beast, and maybe I've told you fellas this, in the current, like I said, I hate how they're using the Beast now in the X-Men books, where he's gone, the Beast is acting like Dark Beast.
Yeah,
is what he's acting like. But on, they've been able to resurrect all these X-Men, right? They go to they have the pods, and they have their essence, and they can resurrect them. This was mentioned in one of the, I guess it was X-Force, in one of the books. And I don't know why you would mention this unless you wanted it as a plot.
Foreshadowing.
Yes. They said that the Beast had destroyed all of the essences of himself except for the one that contained his time as an Avenger.
Yeah.
Why would that be mentioned?
Right. So specifically.
Yes, very specifically. And so I have some kind of hope that maybe at the end of all this shit they're doing with the Beast, or stuff, I'm sorry, all the stuff they're doing with the Beast, that maybe they will resurrect him and he comes back as the Avenger version of the Beast.
Yeah.
But it just seemed odd to me that they would mention that and say
Yeah.
he destroyed all the pods of himself. He can't come back. He just, except for that version of him as when he was an Avenger. That's the only one he didn't destroy. So
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
maybe.
I would like to see Wonder Man come back and actually confront this new Dark Beast and like beat the crap out of him for like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, look, you talk about writing a character so differently, like in the Avengers 2 series that Dan recommended there.
Yeah.
He's coming back while the Avengers are fighting the Legacy virus, and he's hanging out with Wonder Man. The character is written so totally different when he's with Wonder Man than he is in his own title. I mean, it's like a Jekyll and Hyde thing. So,
right.
It's just that character is schizophrenic the way they've written him. So, but I would love to be.
You know what? That would be a great series.
Yep. But I love that Wonder Man going to him saying, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah. Beast. Yeah, he does that. Beast dies, however, gets resurrected as the Avengers Beast. Him and Wonder Man basically storyline. They go off on their own, and they just have like their own hard traveling heroes type thing. Not as serious as that, because those two characters, you still have to have some whimsy to them. But you have them going on, and then you have him kind of explaining to Beast, like, yeah, this is what happened to you over the years, and Beast being like, oh my God, what did I do? And then him remembering Wonder Man as he was and looking at him and be like, what is this? What is this pacifist BS? Like,
yeah,
like and then them, kind of helping each other get back to the versions that people love, and then you get West Coast Avengers, and you get Wonder Man, and you get Beast and Hawkeye, and
all that good stuff.
Take my money.
All right.
Take my money. I'm ready. I'll buy that.
Last question for you guys. Which costume did you like the best?
Yeah, that one, the black and red.
I like the green one the best.
The original?
The original.
The original
would be my second favorite.
Yeah, the original one is my number 2. And like, he's got a lot of variations on that black suit with the big red W.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the one that's on there is my favorite. I guess I would say minus like the hip rockets, because he doesn't need them anymore.
What is your least favorite?
That would be the one that you said that Beast designed him.
There is another one that he had that was while he was with West Coast Avengers that was really bad.
Yeah, that one was pretty bad.
That one to me is the absolute worst costume. It was kind of that color scheme. Yeah, it was green. Yeah, we had green and red. It was just
the red W and M. That one was pretty bad. But like the one that they had that he got right after the trial issue.
Yeah.
But he said Beast designed him.
Yeah.
Like I said, if me looking at it, like, the design of the suit looks okay, but the color scheme, the way they did it, was just, the yellow that was thrown in was just horrid.
Have you considered that maybe Beast is colorblind?
Could be.
Could be.
What about you, Sal?
For least one?
What's the favorite and the least favorite?
Well, the favorite one was the green one, the original. That's my favorite
that's right,
one.
you said.
Yeah, but I guess the safari jacket one, that just didn't sit well with me at all. It was, that one. That's just, there you go.
Look, it's Marlon Perkins on Wild Kingdom. Are you old enough to remember that?
It almost screams like used car salesman to me.
Well, I think they were doing that one because you look at what fashion was at the time, and they were like really trying to push he's a movie star, he's an actor type of thing.
Right.
With the sunglasses and the jacket, and because that was straight from the 70s.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
That's very true. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this sucker up. Thank you guys for your input. Thank you, Tim, for still adding yours, even though you were out sick. We appreciate that.
Hope you feel better, buddy.
Yep. Hope you feel better. Once again, we'll go through the whole spiel here really quick. If I can find it again, I gotta find it because I'm an idiot. There we go. You can always
Nice.
find us on the Codex Station on any social media by typing at the Codex Station and find us. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, do a screenshot saying I'm in that you're showing you subscribed, and you could be entered into our 1,000-member giveaway contest because you could win good stuff. Right, Dan? Good stuff?
Yeah, you get there's slabs, there's comics, the mystery bundle, the trades, original artwork from me. Maybe I'll draw you a Wonder Man, whatever you
There you
want.
go.
There you go.
You get to pick which you get to pick one of the shows that you can guest star on. If it were me as an outsider, I would pick character of the week, and I would pick a character myself. So if anybody picks this show, you get we'll do the character that you pick. So yeah, it's a pretty great prize. You don't have to do much to enter.
Absolutely, 100%. Okay, so let's go ahead and Dan, why don't you tell them where they can find you at really quick?
Yeah, you can
You're
find
not
me on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. I post a few times a week. So go give me a follow, give me some likes, and
Right
get
there.
a commission. And drop a comment on some stuff and let me know what you think and let me know what you want to see, because I always appreciate people saying, "Hey, it would be cool if you draw this," and I'm like, "All right, yeah, good," because sometimes I sit there and look at the page and I can't decide what it is I want to draw, so I need people recommending stuff to me.
Make your money become his money.
Yes,
You can become more content on other shows.
My library has several pieces of his art, so yours can too.
Absolutely. Speaking of your library, Uncle Gary, why don't you say where you can find you at? Take that one
Well,
out there.
you can find me at Loudoun County's only comic book store, Comic Logic. I'm a proud co-owner of that store. I'm in there every Wednesday morning getting my books. So you can come in there when we open the doors, and you can see all of us junkies getting in line, getting our fix of that 4-color goodness. That's right. So you can see me there. At Comic Logic, we also do a Facebook Live show on the first 3 Thursdays of every month. The first Thursday is a Comic Logic preview show where we discuss new books. The second and third Thursday are our Ye Grumpier Old Nerd show, where myself, my best friend Mike Harbor, and our principal owner Rob Kalin, we get together and we talk books, we talk movies, we talk television, we talk sports, and a lot of old man stuff, and we'll tell you to get off our lawn at the end. I also can be found on Facebook under the name Opie Taylor. We are all part of the great site that Archduke Kevy found and united us all through. I do the covers of the day. A lot of times I'm pretty old school with them, but the biggest compliment to me is when somebody sees a cover and goes out and buys the cover because I posted. Sal has done that. So
Yep, I
love that. And we are all three of us contribute mightily to that site. So that's where you can find me. And then we have to wrap this up with our wonderful moderator who has kept the train on the tracks.
I am trying to.
He has done a great job of it. And that is our man,
gosh.
Sal.
Oh, man,
The
I've been
slab
trying.
guy.
I've been trying to. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. When I'm not here on the Codex Station, you can always find me on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner and on Instagram as the Slab Guy 77. And that does it, my friends. Thank you again. Great stuff. Great show. I appreciate you guys' input, and it's always a pleasure to be on with you.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
We'll
Appreciate
we'll see you all
it.
next week.
We'll see you all next week.